So that's actually what I love about iced coffee. Getting a huge iced coffee.
Oh no, we're
That's
not
like
doing with the iced coffee again.
that's just like too much to finish in one sitting. So I'll just like sip on it all day. Those can be pretty productive days. I'm just like slowly sipping on this iced coffee all day.
I just don't like cold coffee.
Yeah. It has to be good though. It can't be like some crappy, like watery,
It can't
you
be
know.
gas station coffee.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It depends on which gas station. Like, 7-Eleven here in Buffalo actually makes good coffee, but they make like
Yeah.
several different types. Like they make
Yeah.
Colombian, Brazilian.
Yeah. They're
what I
known.
mean?
Yeah, they're actually trying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
7-Eleven isn't that bad.
Yeah, they sometimes though you go in and it's cold, and it's like, why is the coffee cold? It's like 6 in the morning. Why is why is it all cold? But yeah, they make decent coffee. I'm not looking for like, top of the line. Like listen, I'm a big fan of McDonald's brand coffee. Their flavor. I like it. Tastes good to me.
Oh, did you give me drawing privileges? Or is
Yeah,
that
I did that like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, but where do I access it from?
I'm going to come out of ghost mode in a little bit, by the way.
Oh, okay.
You don't have a button that says share screen?
Oh, I do. But that's no, that's not it.
Well, tell me, what are you trying to draw on?
No, I'm trying to like draw on the screen that we all can see, not the share screen. Like there's I don't know, maybe you can't do it on Zoom. I've done it in platforms where I actually drew like right here on the background, like right on the screen.
On your background?
Well, I think everyone could see it. I mean, it definitely showed up when it was recorded. Like on YouTube, if you go, like you'll see it.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know, like, and I think my tech brain is like totally off right now.
No, I mean, it was pretty simple. So maybe either you can't do it on this, or maybe you can do it as the person who started this meeting.
You can do it.
So what, like this?
No, it wasn't any of this. It was just I
see drawing.
I don't see it yet.
I just saw some green squiggly lines.
Yeah, I don't see it yet.
I do. Somebody's drawing.
Me?
Oh, now I see it. Yeah, no, it's not like this. It's not like it's not a whiteboard. It's just like within the regular meeting. You can just like draw. That must have been Google Hangout. That must have been Google Hangouts or something.
What it is that like you can, in Zoom, you can like, you can annotate, like if you're giving a PowerPoint or something, but you can't like, draw on my face.
No, it was nothing like that. It was just like I was able to just draw like right in this empty space right here. That must have been Google Hangouts.
You must have been Google Hangouts, because even my like total drug-addled brain would remember that.
Do you remember that one ish where I wrote dope? Like in the background?
No.
Oh, you haven't seen all of our videos then.
Maybe not.
I wonder where that one is. But yeah, that one must have been a Google Hangout.
Was that like a underhanded critique?
What's that? That you haven't seen all of our videos
yet?
Well, no, because now I'm double thinking if it's uploaded or not.
I was gonna say, I was just gonna fall back on the I trust you.
No, it is. It's the no, I think it's, why do I feel like it's right around the era of the Wu-Tang video? If not that one, like one
the
Wu-Tang
Wu-Tang video?
or after. Yeah, the one where we were discussing Wu-Tang.
I didn't get there yet.
Wu-Tang / X-Men. I like to call those the basement tapes. We were discussing New York rodents of unusual size.
Oh, that is a very basement. That's a good. That makes it sound like a mixtape. I like that. The basement tapes.
Those were the basement tapes.
Well, New York rodents are off the table this week.
Yeah, please.
That's
I don't want Mike to not be able to get to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
And I can't afford to lose weeks of my life for rodents of unusual size. You have a problem with these same rodents in New York too, Emily? Are you as terrified as Mike is?
I mean, no, only because I don't see that many rats. Like,
You realize he's asked you this before in a former interview before. This is how we started one of the interviews.
It's how
yeah.
it's how I first met you all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. We were talking about rats.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's certainly how I first met you all.
But no, I'm not scared of rats.
Mike makes New York City rats out to be like urban legends, like chupacabras and the such.
I mean, look, like the usual methods don't work to get rid of them. Like,
Oh, here we go. Here we
I
go.
mean, even the FBI can't get rid of it, right?
Here we go.
No, they're cooperating with the FBI.
Oh my God. They're informants, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, they got caught moving a kilo of heroin. Them rats
But-
carry a lot.
Hey, licky bum bum bam. Somebody trying to
Listen,
say it up your snow, somebody down the lane.
y'all be doing too much in New York City.
You could say that again.
Just throwing that out there.
They be doing too much.
Who's doing too much? The rats?
Yeah.
Listen, if you hear Mike describe him, never mind. You live in New York. You probably heard
I
every New
get
Yorker
it.
describe him.
I get it.
Yeah, you probably heard it all.
But anyways, good news. I got my vote on today. I got
I
my
saw
vote
that.
on early.
I saw that. I
Yeah.
liked the video that you posted.
Oh yeah, cool. Oh yeah, you and Mitch, I think. Yeah, they made it difficult for me. I had to like fight
Emily.
for my right.
What's up?
I'm gonna find you on Facebook and request you as a friend,
Okay.
if that's okay with you.
Yeah, it's fine with me. It might just be a little hard to find me because I don't have my full name in my profile. I don't want.
Well,
I don't want to. Well, you can find me from Flav's page.
Yeah, that would be the easiest. Or
yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it was okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
actually, there's an even easier ways through Let's Get Serious page.
Oh yeah.
Because I think you liked the video, right?
Yeah, I think I liked something.
Yeah. So he could just get you through there. Speaking of which, I gotta get my boy Matt Brown on here. He's like the original. He's like the person who helped create the name Let's Get Serious.
What?
Da-da-da-da. Oh, I'm sorry. I just felt like that needed some theme music or background music or something.
Actually, there is some theme music on the page. There's the Jermaine Jackson joint. Let's Get Serious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Let's get serious. That's fitting.
Yep.
That's certainly fitting.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike said Emily is dying to do a show. She's jam-packed full of ideas and questions that she needs to get out.
Not in those words, but
Yeah, those are Ish's words.
yeah. I said you were excited. You said you were excited about the show. Had some ideas.
I was good with the hype. I was good with the hyperbole, man.
There you go.
I was good with that. You know what I mean? I'm setting the stage.
Yeah, I probably even downplayed it more than what I originally said, or less than what I originally said.
No, but like if you're talking, Flav, about the thing that I was saying in the group chat, where it was like, where I was like, okay, so we were talking about like street code as in like, the whole snitching thing before. Now there's something else that I wonder that's like just doesn't make sense to me that I'm trying to like figure out. It seems like, and it could be just the way like my brain interprets it, but it seems like to me that it's like there's almost within certain communities, like if you're street, like there's almost like a sense of pride of going to prison, and that like seems weird to me. Like, doesn't make sense.
Like, how do you mean a sense of pride?
Well, just like the whole, like, people are, like, people being proud to take, like, 10 years in prison as opposed to, like, trying to get out of it, or, like, being proud to take responsibility, I guess, for whatever their street crimes were.
As opposed to trying to get out of it from snitching on a co-defendant?
I mean, yeah, like, that's a lot of it. But
Well, I
also,
mean,
like, it's just, like, it doesn't make sense to me in a sense, because I feel like, like, do they actually want to be locked up?
well, I mean, me personally, I can't speak for everyone. I certainly can't speak for every community or every type of street culture, right? Because it varies depending on where you're at, for sure. I know where I came up and how I came up. We ain't want to go to jail. Like, we ran from the police. Like, we didn't want to go to jail. Now, is there
I mean, I think it's like, kids these days.
is there a
Maybe.
sense of pride in not being a snitch and doing, just, doing your time? Well, yeah, I can imagine so. Like, for sure. You know what I mean? Because, like, you lose all credibility once you snitch, or at least you're supposed to.
But I
You
mean,
know what I
like,
mean?
well, supposed to was the operative phrase, but we're not going to spend 40 minutes on that again. But,
Right,
like,
right.
I guess, like, here's the thing. It's just like, it seems like, I mean, I guess maybe a better way to put it is, like, it seems like that, like, almost like going to prison is, like, just a given in street culture. But then once, as soon as people do get caught, like, say, for example, like, their buddies on Instagram that are still out on the streets are constantly, like, posting on their Instagram, like, free so and so, when, like, so and so actually did something bad. So
Hmm.
in a sense, I feel like, like, if they're saying, like, free so and so, but so and so, like, shot somebody, like, where's the honor in that?
Well, can I answer this one?
Sure.
So there's a few things, right? First of all, we don't know what so and so did because we weren't a witness to what happened, right? And we're not like, I mean, if you're a prosecutor, your job is to get someone in trouble. If you're a defense attorney, your job is to get someone off. So we don't have any idea. We just make assumptions about
You mean
people.
like the general population?
Yeah, that's what we do. So, like, if someone's name is Bobby Shmurda and he looks and acts like an ignorant person, and he raps about all this stuff, and you hear a lot of rumors about what he's doing, we assume that he did it and he got caught and that whatever. But for all we know,
And hold on, Mike. And just to even add to what Mike said, and I'm not exonerating or incriminating anyone, we even assume that they did it because they were found guilty in court.
Not because they actually did it.
But that doesn't mean they actually, like, we don't really know, right?
that's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. So
Yeah,
those are
I was adding to what you were saying, Mike.
sure.
Go on.
So those are all assumptions, and those are
So
those
you
are
think it's kind of a thing of, like, when people say, like, that somebody is, like, unjustly imprisoned, that they're giving them the benefit of the doubt that they
Well,
actually didn't do it?
it's also a byproduct of no snitch culture, right? Like, if my man actually did something and went to jail for it, I'm not going to be screaming he did it.
That's true, I guess. I
You
didn't
know what I'm
think of it
saying?
that way.
based
Yeah,
upon
that's a good point.
what we agree to do in the street. Like, that's
plus.
how we live, right?
Yeah, I mean, plus the system's so jacked up anyway. Even if he did do it, like, who knows if he got a fair shot or whatever or what have you. But as far as it being a rite of passage, going to prison. I think some of it, or going to jail or prison or what have you. I think some of it is like the no snitch thing. Some of it is just like it's a very difficult thing to go through. So it's like, once you're out, you're very happy to not be in there anymore. But it's also like, okay, you went through you got your stripes, you went through your ordeal,
Or
and
like
now,
it's seen as like spending time locked up is seen as like a form of putting in work per se.
yeah, well, it's just something that, I mean, I guess it's a way of like making the best of it, right? Like if
Well, I
it
mean,
has
you got in many cases, more often than not, you got to put in work in prison.
Well, that's true too, because like there's still gangs in prison just as much as there is on the streets.
Yeah, prison isn't like cake. It's not easy.
Unless you're Martha Stewart.
I mean, I guess it is easy for some people, but it's not easy for minorities.
Well, it's not easier for like minorities, yes, or for like the majority of people who are not like rich celebrities.
Yeah. Yeah. Go on, Mike.
No, I mean, I guess that's it. It's like some people go to Naval Academy, or some people go to, some kind of like strict school, or like, some people go to ROTC to kind of like straighten up. And then some people, it's almost like,
Or they come to my class.
right. Or some people get a wake up call by getting locked up. And either it's like they become worse because they're around elements that are like, are into like all types of stuff, or it makes them say, I never want to be here again. And maybe it makes them walk the straight and narrow. But either way, it's like, that's some kind of like rite of passage.
I can say that, and not from my own experience, but from other people's accounts, people I know who've been to prison. Mike mentioned Naval Academy, and not to take away from that, short of, and I don't even compare the military, short of actually living in a combat theater, I don't think there's a harder life than the American prison system.
What's a combat theater?
As in being in war.
Okay.
Not just being in the military, but living every day in a war zone.
Like being deployed to Iraq, ostensibly.
Right. Short of that, I was actually listening to another YouTube platform yesterday, and they were interviewing a guy who had spent, he had done several major bids, like an 11-year bid and a 7-year bid, and someone who did 21 years straight. And one guy said, do you know what it feels like to have anxiety? And the host was like, yeah. And he said, living in prison is having anxiety every day. Like, it's just constant anxiety. He was like, that's what it is. Like, you wake up with anxiety. You go to sleep with anxiety because you just never know what's going to happen during the course of your day. He had described situations where, the COs would do things like let all of the Hispanic people go into the yard armed, and then make sure to search like every blood so that they didn't have a weapon, and then make them go in the yard with them.
Jesus Christ, what's going on?
Things like that. You know what I mean? And not just to, Bloods or Crips or Black people, it would, they do it to Hispanic people too.
Well, they
whoever it is.
everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing is too, like, I feel like that, like, just like police officers, like a lot of people who become corrections officers were like the people who were like the bullies in high school, and they want to push people around.
You didn't make class president.
I didn't run for class president.
Not you.
Oh,
But
you're
said,
talking the general you.
Wait, bullies or the bullied? You saying that they were bullies in high school? Oh, that they were bullied and now they want to.
No, that they were bullies.
I think
they were bullies. Yeah. She's saying they were bullies.
Yeah, but I think a lot of them were also the bullied.
And that's an interesting thought. Maybe it's their way of like getting back at the world.
You know, I've seen people power trip, right? I had a part-time job at Amazon to make extra money like a little over a year ago, just, you know, to make some extra money because I spent a lot of money, more money than I probably should on comic books, but oh well, you know what I mean? So I was,
There's worse things to spend your money on.
yeah, you know, my wife doesn't complain, so I'm good. But it was, you know, I was working there, and I mean, I stopped working there because there's only so much I can take, you know what I mean? I'm, you know, in my 40s. I served in the military. I've done and seen a lot of things. And when some 25-year-old guy supervisor comes up and feels like they can talk to me a certain way,
it makes you feel some type of way.
Yeah. And, you know, I'd look at this one guy in particular, like, bruh, clearly you were the dude who, like, you didn't make class president. You weren't popular. People bullied you in school. And you're power tripping. Like he would talk, listen, and, you know, at Amazon, you got a lot of college kids, right? The majority of the people working there on the floor are kids in college, you know, and so they actually need the job. And like he'd walk up to people and like he'd the way he talked to me was so patronizing and condescending, and he'd say things. I remember he said to one girl, he told her, he was like, "Do you talk to your mother that way?" Like, yo, she went off on him.
You like, talk to your mother with that mouth?
Yeah, a friend of mine who worked there for a few days, literally it just quit like 2 days ago. She only worked there for like maybe 3 days, and you know I'm not gonna say her name because you all will probably meet her. She'll probably come on the show. She's also a teacher, and she just was kind of working there just to make extra cash because school's out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, she teaches at a private school. She has
and they don't pay as much.
Right. She has a degree in history. She has a degree in English. And on her second day there, she told one of the supervisors that was working with her or kind of training her that she was going to the bathroom. And he said to her, "Just so you know, I pay attention to how long people go to the bathroom and how often you go." You know, and this guy was like in his mid-20s.
Sounds like you should be sounds like you should be my doctor.
Sounds like you should be a middle school teacher.
Like, yo, that's what I mean. Like, you get these people, and I think you get the same thing with correctional officers. However, I can tell you, and, you know, I don't want to come off as offensive. It's just the case. The worst correctional officers happen to be females.
I believe you. Like, look, you're preaching to the choir here. Like,
they can be pretty bad.
Like, I've never been like that close with too many other females.
He's like, yo, we're shady. I don't think females are shady. I happen to love them, by the way. I'm just saying.
We're not shady, but we're bitchy.
Listen, everybody out there in YouTube land, she said it. Flav and I. Flav and I did not say that.
Oh, shit. Now I'm going to need a disclaimer.
You don't need a disclaimer.
But I'm allowed to say that women are bitchy because I'm a woman.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. I just want to make sure that, you know, we don't get a whole bunch of backlash from people like, yo, Flav, an issue. We're like, women are, I didn't say it.
We're like, women are fucking bitches.
I'm not mad that you said it. And I don't know that I completely agree, but I don't know that I completely disagree either. I mean, guys have our flaws too, so.
Well, see, here's the thing though, is that like you guys just like, you got a problem with each other, you just beat the shit out of each other and it's over. Women drag it and drag it and drag it and drag it.
That is something that I do agree with.
Like
I'm with you on that.
Guys, you beat the shit out of each other and then like it's done, and like that's
women. Women, it's about the drama.
Yeah, and I was never about the drama. Like, if I wanted to fight you, I'd fight you. Like, get it over with.
Right. With guys, we just don't have time for drama. We're gonna say what we gotta say, fight, keep it moving. Would you agree,
Yeah,
Mike?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I've known a lot of women to say that they didn't get along with other women.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
just,
It's like a theme.
it's just a social. It's just a social thing. It is what it is. I've never really tried to analyze it too much.
Most of my women, excuse me, most of my friends that are women.
your friends that are female.
Yeah,
I think you said it right.
I prefer women to
Yeah, I
female
think you said it right. I think you're.
in that context.
Yeah,
Okay, so friends that are women.
I think if he says it like you are saying it, he's gonna get dragged. Just so you
Right,
know.
right. Well, that's
People
why I
don't
said
like people don't like being called females.
right,
They don't like that.
and I'm respectful of that.
So women, okay.
So most of my friends that are women that I'm very, very close with or particularly close with, most of them, like 90, the upper 90 percentile, 90 percentile, say to me that they don't have very many women friends. It's like a general theme.
Then who are all the women friends with if they're not friends with each other?
Say again?
Then who are
They're,
all the women friends with if they're not friends with each other?
well, like a few of my friends that I'm particularly close to, like one of them, I and another guy are her two like closest friends. She does have a friend that is a woman that she's very close with, but there's not. It's a very short list.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that makes sense. I mean, like, I have a few like really close female friends too, but like, I tend to like be more friends with guys. And I always thought that was weird, but it sounds like you're saying like that's actually normal for most women.
Say that again.
Like I've always had like more male friends than female friends, right?
Hmm.
And I always thought that like I was the oddball for that, but it sounds like from what you're describing that that's actually a more common phenomenon than I thought it was.
I found that to be the case. Now with guys, we just kind of have friends. You know what I mean? I got guy friends. I got now it's interesting though, because I have very few guy friends. Like most of my friends that are men, I'd rather hang out with than say sit on the phone and have a conversation with. I will, but I'd rather just go hang out with you.
True,
Whereas
true.
with my friends that are women, I'm more inclined to, hang out and have a conversation with you on the phone. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
that's
I don't know.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, there's different dynamics. It is, I talk to Mike most usually every morning, not all the time, or Flav, but usually I'll talk to him in the morning. You know what I mean? I have another friend, I'll talk to him. We partner, we have a Facebook group called Comic Sense, which is kind of devoted to like all things comics and such. And, we do like comic business together. So we'll talk probably once a day, but not for very long. Whereas my friend, two of my friends that are women, I talk to every day and usually for a significant amount of time.
Interesting. I mean, does your wife count for one of those, or you're talking about friends that are women besides your wife?
Outside of my wife.
Gotcha.
Outside of my wife. I mean, I talk to my wife every day, all throughout the day. She works from home.
She was working from home before this whole messed up situation.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would say about 50% of the week she'd work from home.
Ish, I
She
don't
didn't.
remember us talking in the morning that often. Because
No, as of recently.
Depends on how
yeah,
you
because
define morning.
I'm only
I
speaking
was
of
about
as
to
of
say,
recently.
yeah, because there was that one day he called me mad early, and I'm like, oh shit.
No, there was. I called you probably every day while driving to the comic shop.
Oh,
So
Those
So
are
at least like,
afternoons, aren't they?
no, in the morning.
Huh.
It,
How many
it,
times?
probably 4 days in a row. And this is recently, right? Because I've only been working at,
Oh,
helping
shit.
out at the comic shop for about 2 weeks.
What is it? The rat?
No, it's not a rat. It's a fucking spider.
No, yeah, Mike, I wasn't making it like like we've been talking every day forever. Recently.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning.
Trying to make sure my memory is correct. Because I was about
Yeah.
to be like, there was that one time where I was like,
That was the
this
most
is too
recent
early.
time, and actually the last time. It was the last time I worked at the shop, which was last week. That was the most recent time. But for like 4 days in a row, I had just taken to calling you in the morning just to kind of catch up, orient, discuss show stuff, discuss a topic or something that was on my mind while I was driving to the comic shop. One day it was particularly early because I went in at 9, but I'm usually there by 11, so you might see it as the afternoon.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
I
that's
think-
not really the afternoon, but
It's
it's not like
not.
6 in the morning either.
Yeah, it all depends on what my schedule is, because that makes sense. Like if I'm still sleeping, it definitely feels like the morning, no matter what time it is.
Mhm.
If I'm like awake
Well-
already, then it's not even a thing. And then I just like switch my whole schedule. I was on this like work when I want to, as long as I get my work done schedule. And then I got back to this like strict regiment where I have to start at like 11:45 in the morning every morning. Which
I
means
know the
can't
one
be
day I
staying
caught
up-
him.
Yeah, which means I can't be staying up like until like 5, 6, 7 in the morning anymore.
Yeah, the one day I called him and he's like, he just woke up from a dead sleep and he's like, this better be good. I was in the middle of an ill freestyle. I'm like, oh, pardon me.
I was freestyling in my sleep. I
Like,
remember that.
pardon me.
I remember that.
My bad. Didn't mean to break up the cipher.
Hey, it could be worse. When I worked at Starbucks, I was taking orders in my sleep, apparently.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I would be
Yeah.
dreaming that I was at work, and I would be, like, taking orders in my sleep, like, sleep talking.
That's when that's when you know it's time for a new job.
I think that was right before I quit.
Yeah.
Make that money in your sleep. You gotta pay me
Yeah, exactly.
overtime. I was working last night.
Exactly. I was working in my sleep, so therefore you got to pay me.
That's funny though, taking orders for Starbucks in your sleep.
No, it happened to me another time too. Like, there was some time when like I was having surgery, and I don't remember, like, it wasn't relevant what it actually was, but I just remember they had to put me under, and I woke up like, and the first thing I'm saying, like, you know how you like, if you go under for like a medical procedure, you wake up and you're like mad groggy. Like, I woke up and like was like taking orders like furiously when I was coming out of anesthesia.
Really? From coming under from anesthesia? Did they think you were crazy?
I mean, probably, but they probably heard some crazier things than that. Like, I don't know, weird things happen when I have to go under. Like, there was another time I had a dream that I was a dolphin and woke up like talking about like swimming in the ocean. So I don't know what kind of good drugs they're giving me.
See, the 2 times I've been under with anesthesia, I wake up. So,
But like it doesn't work.
right. Like the first time I was ever put under anesthesia, I was in the military and I had to get my wisdom teeth taken out. So before you deploy, right, we do what's called a PALM, which is an acronym that I can't remember, but it's pretty much, this is before you deploy to any theater outside of like your home duty station. You PALM and you go through this. It takes a day, an entire day to PALM. It's a whole process where you have to get everything in life up to date because you could die in theater. So like if you powers of attorney, wills, They make sure all your shots are up to date, all your medical records are up to date, all your paperwork is up to date. Like you go through this whole process. It's called a palm. Again, can't remember what the acronym stands for. And during this palm, it was determined that I needed I had impacted wisdom teeth and I needed my wisdom teeth removed, all 4 of them. And I also had like 2 extra teeth just growing like in the center of the roof of my mouth. Like you couldn't see them. They weren't affecting my teeth or anything. They just were just like these 2 little like nubs that just decided I want to grow like 1/8 of an inch away from your teeth and like in the middle of your mouth. You know what I mean? So
Like, I'm just gonna create extra teeth because I feel like it.
right. So they decided that I could either have the teeth removed 2 at a time, which would have taken months because remove the teeth, recovery, remove teeth, recovery, you know what I mean? Or just get all 6 taken out at once. And, you know, if I was going to do that, I would do it before we deploy because we palmed a little bit before we deployed. We're deploying to like Bosnia, Herzegovina. So, well, through via Hungary. So I just opted to have all 6 teeth taken out. And they said, take someone you trust, which I ended up just taking like a staff sergeant, Sergeant Wills, because they told me, they said, you know, when we put you under anesthesia, when you come out, you may not be cognizant of what, you know, what's going on and what you're going to say. And I'm like, okay. So I remember taking Sergeant Wills, getting put under, getting my teeth removed. And we were in the car on the way home and she just was explaining to me how I woke up during the procedure and
Oh my God.
tried to fight the dentist. She said I cussed everybody out. Like, mind you, I was a lower rank and everybody there were like either officers. My Sergeant Wills was a staff sergeant. So had it been any other time, had I done that, like I would have gotten in a lot of trouble. But I was under the effects of anesthesia and I woke up and I cussed. She was like, you cussed everybody out. You was trying to fight people. And I had to be
And you
20.
don't remember like any of it?
I didn't remember any of it. I didn't even believe her. I'm like, are you serious? She's like, no. She was like, you cussed everybody out. She was like, you woke up, you were trying to fight. You were very combative. You cussed she was like, you cussed me out. You cussed everybody out. And then you went back to sleep.
Damn.
And the second time was just a few years ago, which is now I remember it. I remember it clearly. And I believe her because a few years ago, I had to have a tooth removed. And
You and your teeth, it sounds like.
well, those are wisdom teeth. This was just a tooth in the back that broke. Like I used to have a tongue ring. So
Gotcha.
the tooth in the back of my mouth cracked and it started breaking.
Oh, because you hit the teeth with your tongue too hard?
Yeah. So, and I used to keep the 14 gauge. So I used to have the piercing gauge. Like I like the piercing gauge. I like the long one. You know what I mean? So it would like hit my teeth. So just a couple years ago, and maybe 3 years ago, I go to get my tooth checked out and they're like, okay, we got to remove the tooth. And it was in the back of my mouth. So they hit me with Novocaine, right? So my problem is, like, I don't take any narcotic, not that Novocaine is narcotic. I don't take narcotic drug. Like, if I'm in pain for something and they prescribe me like Loratab, I'll just give it back and just take like, you know, the strongest strength Tylenol.
Yeah, no, I don't take them either.
Yeah, I'm not a oxycodone. I'm not a Loratab. I just don't do it. So, and normally I have a very high pain threshold.
I'm just not honest enough to always give them back anyways.
Oh yeah, I just go right back to I'm usually at the VA. They give them to me. I go right back down to, you know, pharmacy and be like, yeah, I don't need these. And they're like, really? I remember one time I turned 20 Loratabs. I got prescribed 20. I turned 20 into the pharmacy at the VA, and they only checked in 19. Go figure. Just go figure. You know what I mean? Someone in the hospital is always on. Nurses are always having to go to rehab for being addicted to painkillers. It's like a thing. You
Oh,
know,
I believe it.
so anyway, so just to make this long story short, I go to the dentist and I was pissed. I was pissed, and this is the male pride in me because there's all these women there and they're laughing. I remember the one nurse was like, we got a young girl down the hallway who just got a tooth pulled, no problem, and like trying to make me feel some type of way, right? Because this guy, so the dentist hit me with Novocaine, and he goes into my mouth and starts pulling and breaking my tooth, and I'm like, yo, did you give me any Novocaine? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. And so I let him proceed. But for some reason, it literally felt like someone was taking pliers and putting them in my mouth and breaking my tooth and pulling on my tooth. All of the sensation that you would imagine would come with that. Like, I'm not feeling any Novocaine at all. All I feel is the pain
There's
of
pliers in your mouth.
yeah, like, and I really feel it. And he didn't believe me. He was like, you can feel that? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, no, you don't feel it. I'm like, he was like, we put Novocaine. I'm like, listen, I feel every bit of it. Like, I don't know what y'all talking about. Like, I feel it, and I felt it, and they didn't believe me. So he gets mad at me. Like, he gets mad, and he's like, really? Like, this was my punishment or something? He's like, well, then I guess you're gonna have to come back in a week, and we're gonna have to put you under.
Oh
And
shit.
I'm like, okay. Like, if you're gonna have to put me under to take my tooth out, rather than you sitting here breaking my tooth with pliers and yanking and pulling on my tooth, I feel every bit of it, like as if there was no Novocaine. Like, and I'm sitting there like holding, you know what I mean, like holding on and dealing with the pain. But like, if I just walk up to you and take pliers and start trying to break your tooth and yank pieces of your tooth out your mouth without giving you any painkiller, like, it's excruciating. Absolutely excruciating. And that's what I was trying to convey, and he didn't believe me. He finally believed me because a week later they had to get a consult with the anesthesiologist. It's a dental office, so they're just not there, you know what I mean? So I go in a week later, they put me under, and I just remember going under, being asleep, and then the next thing I remember is sitting in a chair cussing everybody out.
Dude, I never want to see you on like crazy drugs.
Yo, I clearly remember sitting in this chair wide awake, like trying to fight people. This was like 3 years ago. And I remember them strapping me down, and I'm still trying to fight. And the dentist, then I kind of blacked out, and I don't remember anything else. And then I remember my wife sitting next to me, like holding my arm, like, Ish, calm down, Ish, calm down. It's okay. And I'm like, yo, where am I? Where are these people? What are they doing to me? Like, I remember all of this. And then I remember being asleep again. And my wife told me when I woke up, and the dentist, he apologized to me. He was like, listen, he was like, I'm sorry. He was like, I didn't know that, when you were telling me that the Novocaine didn't take, that it really didn't take. And he was like, I can tell because the anesthesia, like, he was like, we don't have patients that just wake up when we hit them with
And start
anesthetic.
cursing everyone out.
Right. And I've only ever been put under with anesthetic twice, and both times I woke up. And we're talking 20 years apart. And my wife said to me, she was like, Ish, you woke up. She said you were trying to fight people. You were cussing at people. They had to come out and get me. She was like, that's why when you woke up again, you were like, I looked at her. She was the only person I could recognize. And I was like, yo, what's going on? What are they doing to me? Who are these people? Like, I didn't even know where I was at. I
See,
just
that's
knew,
why they
like,
tell you not to go alone.
yeah, I had no clue where I was at. And she said to me, she was like, yeah, Ish, the dentist was, telling me, she said I had to like kind of argue with him because he was like, we don't know what to do. Because they couldn't give me any more anesthesia because it can be dangerous.
Yeah,
And
they
he's
didn't
like,
want to have a Michael Jackson situation on their hands.
yeah. He was like, we don't know what to do. And she's like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? You can't just not finish. Like, you know what I mean? like you can't just not finish. Like, there's blood coming out of his mouth. Like, you have to finish. And for some reason, my wife talking to me, she just talked to me for like a couple minutes. And the next thing I know, I was waking up and my tooth was out.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an experience. So both times that
Sounds
I've
like
been
it.
put under, I was put under 3 times, but the first time I was ever put under, I was a kid. You know what I mean? And I was a little kid. I had to be like 6. So I just remember them telling me to count to 10, and I just remember getting to like 3, and then waking up and like surgery was done. You know what I mean? That was the very first time, but the other 2 times as an adult, I woke up both times.
Hey, check what I posted in the chat.
Yeah, I clicked on it. It says gone, error 410.
What?
I'm not included in that group chat.
It's the Zoom chat. It's hit the chat button. Yours says an error?
Yeah,
That's some ish.
that's some bullshit.
I was trying to keep it PG and also on brand. That's some ish. That looks even worse.
Error 404, not found.
It still says that?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I think what's happening is, like, if you look in the chat box, like, it'll have, like, a link, but then as soon as it gets to the dash, like, anything after that dash, like, isn't part of the hyperlink.
Well, I don't know. How do people put links in here?
Beats me.
Okay.
Are we experimenting?
No, I was just trying to put something in the. I just wanted you to see something, but apparently that's not the way to do it.
Apparently Zoom's being an asshole.
Yeah.
So I've been going in on this whole, as you saw earlier, Mike. I've been going in on this whole Blue Lives Matter deal.
Oh yeah. I always post a Smurf whenever someone says Blue Lives Matter. That's always my little joke.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Smurfs are the only blue lives that matter.
Well, I was referencing dolphins.
Oh yeah.
Oh Jesus.
That was good.
But I think of dolphins as gray.
Yeah, but Island of the Blue Dolphins. You remember that whole?
Oh, that book that everybody had to read in elementary school.
Yeah, like everyone had to read Island of the Blue Dolphins. So it just came to mind. It was the first thing that came to mind. Like, oh, dolphins are blue. They matter. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, we're comparing, an occupation to the plight of people in ethnic groups.
And we still had to read that same damn book. I still had to read it probably about 8 or 9 years after you.
I'm sorry. She's like that darn book. Screw Blue Lives Matter. Stupid book.
I'm sorry. That was a horrible book.
It wasn't that bad. Hey, we remember it, right?
True.
I got Call of the Wild.
Maybe they replaced it within, like, whatever few years between, like, you being in 4th and 5th grade and me being in 4th and 5th grade.
That could be the case. They might have taken Call of the Wild out. But I mean, you had to read Island of the Blue Dolphins, so that was still the thing. Mike, did you have to read Island of the Blue Dolphins?
I definitely don't remember. I did read Call of the Wild though.
In school?
Yeah. I didn't read any dolphins. I didn't read about any dolphins.
So you got Call of the Wild, she got Island of the Blue Dolphins, I got both.
That sounds about right.
Interesting. Did y'all have to read like Judy Blume?
Yeah.
I remember Judy Blume books. Yeah, I remember those.
It's always Judy Blume is funny to me, right? Because she wrote all these books for kids, and then she wrote erotica,
Hmm.
and there's like no in between, right? Like there's like Henry and Ribsy, and then there's like
No, Henry and Ribsy wasn't
not
Judy
Henry.
Blume.
That's yeah, just that like Beverly Cleary or something like that.
Yeah, it's Beverly. You're thinking about like, oh fuck, what's the one with the little brother whose name is Fudge? I don't remember.
Super Fudge.
Thank you. I just remember it was a TV show on Saturday mornings, like when I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Right, right. So she wrote kids books that we had that were required reading in school, and then she wrote erotica.
And there's no in between.
Like no in between. It's kids books and erotica. Like, okay. Interesting. I just think that's an interesting parallel. Like on the one hand, you have Judy Blume's lovey
Children's books.
erotica, and on the other hand, you have Super Fudge.
That's so weird.
I always thought she did like Henry and Ribsy and Ramona the Pest.
No, that was all Beverly Cleary.
Yeah, that's Beverly Cleary. That's right.
Which
She
we
did
had
do.
to read those too.
Yeah, we had to read Beverly Cleary. We had to read Judy Blume. I remember the one book that
Did you stop talking? What happened? Is everyone frozen? Am I the only one not frozen?
name was Geraldine.
Hello? What's going on? Am I the only one not frozen? What's going on with everybody? This is weird.